It's about passion for a sport we all enjoy. It's about conservation, education, community, and fellowship. It's about a single voice of strength. It's about being part of a common cause for the common good. It's about you. It's about us. It's our time to come together.
We're asking you to join us
and become a proud members American Catfish Association. You'll be happy you did. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, they are.
Welcome, everybody, to day 7 of the ACA 12 Days of Christmas. We've given away some great stuff for the last 6 nights. And tonight, we've got some great stuff again. If you're not an ACA member, we encourage you to give us a look. Head on over to www.jointheaca.com. Your membership helps us do so much. We've got all sorts of great resources. We work tirelessly on conservation efforts, education. We've got a great discount program. A lot of people don't know this, but the discount program that the ACA has is being used more by our association than many other associations in the country, saving our members well into the hundreds of dollars every year. So, I'm glad to see that folks are saving money. It's $50 a year. So come on into the ACA, help us make a difference. Every member now in 2022 will have a chance to win a new Sea Arc boat with a Suzuki motor sitting on a deluxe Marine Master trailer. And when you fish any of the ACA Alliance tournaments, your name goes in the hat to up your chances every time you fish one of those events. So we're doing the best that we can to provide the membership with you, for you, the most that we can. And we've got something coming up. And I say this every night, and I desperately want to tell everybody about it, but we're that close to getting it done. And it's going to change catfishing. It's going to change recreational fishing like you wouldn't believe. It's just a great advancement. We're really, really excited. It'll become the new platform for the ACA, by the way. It'll be a more of a mobile phone app. You'll still have everything online, but you'll also have a mobile phone app. It'll include like even virtual tournaments, which will be terrific. So I can't say too much more, but it's going to be cool. So anyways, tonight, you guys use planer boards, right? We got the originator of the planer boards with us tonight. And let me bring Nick up. There he is. Nick DeShano. How are things up in Michigan? Wait a minute. Your mic. There you are. Okay.
There you go. Okay.
There you go. You're ready to go.
All right. Well, yes, how it was in Michigan. It's cold right now. It's the coldest day of the year. So everybody staying in and tucked in, but we're doing great. We've been a pretty crazy year to say the least, and we're looking forward to next year and see what that's going to bring, and just fun to keep watching the rise and the growth of the whole catfishing industry.
It's unbelievable. When U.S. Fish and Wildlife did a report, and it was in 2016, and catfish was categorized as the number 3 segment in the recreational fishing industry with 8.1. There was a very large organization that did a recent study and have found that has now jumped up to over 10 million targeting catfish, and which that makes it the number 2 species in recreational fishing that is being targeted, just behind bass. And bass, I think, is 15 or 16 million. And we were having a conversation with Glenn Hughes, who I'm sure you know, at the American Sport Fishing Association of last week. and they were saying that the numbers are now out that the number of recreational anglers in the United States alone, and they used to be, I think, combined with the United States and Canada, is now at 55 million, Nick.
Yeah.
It's a big number.
That's a big chunk. That's for sure. And it's great to see. And right now it's great to see. The best thing is it's getting people outside, getting people doing stuff, and just everybody's looking through their phones all day long. You get people out on the water, whether it's a boat or a shoreline, anywhere. It's just great to see people out and about more now.
Yeah. Well, it's a great hobby. I know, this is a family business for you. You've grown up fishing, not myself. I grew up in Western New York on the Erie Barge Canal, about 4 miles inland from the Niagara River and not too far from Lake Erie. And, I love fishing. And I used to come to Florida twice a year with my family. My grandparents are down here, so I did a lot of saltwater fishing as well. So I got a taste of both fresh and saltwater fishing growing up. And to this day, I love it. So, so Nick, tell us about Offshore Tackle. How did it get started, and all the various products that you have?
Okay. Well, my dad started Offshore Tackle about 1980. He was worked at the Detroit Edison power plant. He was down in Detroit area, and he decided he got moved up to this little one in a small town where I'm living at now in Harbor Beach. It's just a small town of maybe 1,100, 1,200 people. And that was in the late 70s, and salmon fishing was real big this is where on Lake Huron. In Michigan, and the salmon fishing was real big. So he was one of the first charter captains out here that would take people out fishing for trout and salmon. And it started out with a little release, just like the old alligator style clips, a metal release with a pad glued in it. And I can remember as a kid, mom and dad is sitting there and they're gluing these releases together on their lap. And then it went into, they met a gentleman that had a Plaxis company and did some other inventions. And he says, well, how about we make this thing out of plastic and make a real release for fishing like that? So he said, okay. They tried that, and that worked out good. And in 1993 come around, and when the professional walleye tour was going, a lot of guys were using planer boards for walleye tour and just kind of getting real big and popular then. But all the planer boards on the market, they worked, but they weren't the greatest. We didn't use them a lot. So we worked with a couple of the main pros and developed the planer board what we have now, which is still quite a bit. This is an OR12 planer board. And it's had a lot of little changes along the ways. The basic shape and the size of the board is still the same as our original one.
That's your original, right? More or less.
This is your original. The OR12 here is our medium-sized board, and that's our original board. This is the most popular one, especially for the Great Lake style fishing and walleye and all that kind of stuff.
Now, what will that pull, Nick? What kind of weight?
This board is good up to 4 ounces. It all depends on speed. If you're going, the slower you're going, because the faster you go, it'll just pull it out to the side and it keeps the lines up. So it's about 4 ounces. You could probably get away with 6. This is depending on how, especially if you're in murky water and you're not worried about getting 150 feet away from the boat. If you're just looking at spreading your lines out a little bit more, that'll hold up to about 6 ounces. And it comes with just this orange release on the front, and then a red release on the back. And the red release, the key thing with the red release is it has, I don't know if we can find a way to see that, but there's a pin in the center of this pad that goes right through. So when you open it up far enough, you put your line behind that pin, and that keeps it from coming off of your line. So if the board trips and it goes to the back, it's still being held on by this line here.
Right. Okay. So one line detaches towards the front of it, the side piece that detaches, and the back piece stays on, and that way you can retrieve obviously your hopefully your trophy catch and your offshore planer board.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the flag. How does the flag work?
This is an extra. A lot. I guess if you're into some smaller fish, or if you're a place where you're catfishing and you have some crappie, or you have some other fish that might bite your line or whatever that was. So what this does is when there's a fish on, let me back up a little bit more, maybe you can see it better. When there's a fish on, the line goes through this release here from your rod tip, through this release to this release, and then out back to wherever your bait's at.
Right.
And you leave a little bit of slack between the two releases. And what happens is when the fish pulls on it, it pulls that flag down. So the weight of that
good indicator
pulls the flag. I mean, if you're catching big catfish and, the average catfish is probably 10 pounds plus from the stuff I've been seeing anyways, that'll pull it down. But even if you get something smaller on there, you might just see the flag go and the board not move. So if you get a fish without a tattle flag, sometimes it's hard, especially starting out, it's harder to see if there's a fish on. Like I said, you get a lot of these big catfish, half of them, they just leave bubbles on the surface where the board was. So it's pretty easy to tell.
They'll pull everything down. And,
yeah.
And if you're not careful, they'll take everything on board too.
Right. But
so I know you've got from that, you've got a smaller board and you have a larger board, right?
Yep. We've got the smallest board we make here is this little mini board. I know a lot of people are probably not going to have a whole lot of use for that, but we've got a good article coming out in our paper this year. Every year we put out a paper. You get it on our website or at the Catfish Conference, we'll have hard copies of it. But it's got all kinds of different articles in it geared around how to use different styles and ways of using their products. And there's a little piece in there this year with Doc Lang. He uses these little mini boards for catching skipjack.
Yep.
So he'll set up a rig behind that, and he'll use these for catching your skipjack. So there's definitely some good uses for it, especially bank fishing. If you're bank fishing and you want to get your line a little away from the boat or a little away from the bank, this works out good because if you got a hole or something you want to fish, you can work it out right to where you want it, and it sits there instead of casting it out and worrying about it dragging through and all that kind of stuff. And the nice thing is they break. I know
that. Dan Danemuller, who's the publisher of Crappie Now and Catfish Now, digital publications. I remember when he introduced that the small board to me. He showed that to me, and I guess they use that for crappie as well. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great board for crappie. It covers 90% of your crappie fishing. So, yep.
Yeah.
And then the nice thing with it is, especially for traveling, you just pop this bracket off. You can just pop it out of the board, and it folds down flat. But it's good for both sides. There's one board. It's reversible. So with the bracket this way, it's going to go out here. You flip it around the other way, and you just put the bracket back in the board that way. Now it'll go out the opposite side of the boat or the bank, whatever you're fishing. So it folds down. You can shove it in a cargo pocket or a toolbox or in your back pocket or a tackle box or your back pocket for that matter, and take it anywhere you want to go.
Now that has the hookup the same way as the other board, right? The side hookup and then the back hookup.
Yep, the same thing. There's a lighter tension release on the front. The colors are the tension. So the yellow is the lightest tension.
Okay.
And then the red is a heavy tension. The red is a heavy tension, but it has the pin to keep from your line coming out, so it won't trip. And the orange release that's on the OR12 is the same tension as the red one, but it doesn't have a pin. So this way you can put your line in it. You can set it so if you get a fish on, you can trip it, and now you're not fighting the board planing or not worrying about it diving and taking off on it.
Didn't realize that they were color coded that way. That's great. That's great information. Yep. So now you've also have a larger board that the catfish community now is embracing, I think, very well.
Yeah, this is definitely our most popular board for catfish. So you can see it's quite a bit bigger. I'll put the OR12 is right up against it, so you can see quite a bit bigger than the other one. And this board will pull just about anything. We've had a lot of guys running, an 8-12-ounce ball, 8-12-ounce weight with a big 2-pound skipjack or a big bait behind that, and it'll pull it out to the side of the boat for you good. There's a lot of flotation in it. We got a lot of foam in the back, so it'll pull a lot of weight. This one comes with a little different releases. This one comes with this release here is called the snapper release. And the way this works is mainly keyed for braid, but you can use monofilament with it. So it's got jaws on the bottom. There's little bumps for your line to catch in so it doesn't slip.
Okay.
On top, there's a pad, and you put your line in it. And if you flip this cam forward like that, there's a pin that goes in this hole here. And this can keep it from coming out of your line.
And locks it in there. Sure.
It'll lock it into place. So especially if you're using braid, you really want this on your front release, whether it's this board or the OR12 as well. And you can set both boards. You can move the releases around. They fit on all the different boards. The mini board, you really don't have to change much for releases. That one's even with it pulls so light out to the side. There's not much you have to worry about for
what are the speeds, Nick, that you recommend with those boards? What is the optimal speed you should be going with those? Obviously, you got currents and winds and things like that to take into consideration, but for the most part, if you've got flat water, kind of dead wind, little current, what's the optimal speed?
The best is 0.9 on up. And we've run them. I know we had Alex Nagy. Him and his team just won the Cabela's the King Cat Championship, and they were pulling mag boards doing it, and they were running slow. They were down to 0.4 miles an hour with them, and the problem is it's a little harder to get them out to the side. But a lot of times what you can do is you can speed up to get the board to where you want it to be at. And then you can kind of slow
down to leave them in position.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing with this board is just the amount of weight. With this Pro Mag board, it can haul a ton of stuff and speed all the way up to well over anything you'll be able to probably do for catfish, 5-6 miles an hour. They use them for muskies and all that kind of stuff.
That's moving along. I mean, that's what we troll out here in the Atlantic at 5-6 miles an hour.
Yep.
That's pretty quick.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to get a set of boards and try them out here because we're always trolling lures or what's called ballyhoo, and to be able to spread them out. As a matter of fact, I've had conversations with people down here. Most of the boats are center consoles, and off of that, you've got your what do you call them? Outriggers, thank you. And to go to put 2 or 3 or lines off an outrigger and then have that attached to it as well to get everything. I mean, you might be able to put in 8 to 10 baits off the back of a boat that way.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of cool. I'll have to play with that.
We played around with it a little bit. The hard thing is those saltwater fish are usually hit so hard and they were so fast running. I mean, that's what a lot of the catfish. It's nice. We have a little right here is the release. So when you trip it, it falls and it stays in place on your line. You reel it into the boat. You reach up. You just pinch it off your line, and now you're just you fish the rest of the way out. A lot of guys like to do it. A lot of catfish anglers like to do is replace this red release. We make we call it a corkscrew clip. So it's different. You don't open it and close it like a regular snap. And there was a Great Lakes on our fish attractors, our flashers, is the kind of snap that it comes with. But this, as you can see, it's a snap like that.
Yep. So there's actually I'm sure you've seen our easy sinker slides. I know that people are using those on the back of planer boards as well. Yep,
those work good too. And these you just loop your line. You put your line over that loop. Put your line around the loop and just flip it around in there. And the nice thing with doing it this way is when you have a big fish on and they're diving or they're right by the boat, the board will trip off the front release. And then especially with this one with so much foam in it, it'll just lay on the surface. And then the line can slide in and out of that snap as you're fighting the board. So you're not dragging the board underwater when the fish goes too. So, a lot of the things with our boards, there's a lot of different releases. And you talk to 10 different fishermen, and you're going to find 10 different ways of that's their favorite
using it.
The way you're supposed to do it. So
that's okay. I mean, that's what it's all about.
That's it. And whatever you're comfortable with, that's the best way to do it. There's very few wrong ways to do it. Everybody's got their own setup for it. So
as long as it puts a fish on the hook, it's the right way. It's the right way. So you also have an item called, what is it? It's called, is it a tadpole?
Tadpole weight. Yep. And this is, it's a directional, it's a sinking diving weight. So instead of just,
let me bring up full screen here because I think folks have to see this.
There we go. Nick. I'll try and get it so where you can kind of see it on my bald head. Maybe that would help. So this is the this arm here, this snap right here goes to the rod.
Yeah.
And then off the tail, you tie a leader 6 feet, however feet you want, to your bait. Right. So then what happens is this is the set position. Now it dives down in the water and it's fishing. When you have a fish on, the weight pulls this forward, and now you can just reel it in, and you just have the weight of the tadpole. You don't have any resistance. Fighting the resistance of the diving. It's 2 advantages. It gets you deeper with less line. And for me, the biggest advantage, because we do a lot of open water fishing, is that you can target a depth a lot easier. We have these weights here with snap weights, which is the red release, the same one that's on the back of the boat, on the back of the planer board, and it's got that pin in the center. You can kind of see that pin there. It's got the pin in the center, and this is just a weight. So you can clip just a weight on your line, and that'll take it down deeper the same way. But it's a little harder to pin a depth down because it's so much more speed dependent. This has a dive curve to it. So you can actually have a dive profile like what a crankbait would do, as opposed to a weight. So they all got their different places. The advantage with this weight is you can put a 12-ounce weight or a 1-pound ball on that, clip it on your line, and you can get deeper than you can with the tadpoles. This is a number 1. We make 4 sizes. There's a number 1, 2, number 3, and a magnum. The 3 and the magnums are quite a bit bigger than these. These are good up to about 30 feet. And 3 and the magnum tadpoles, the magnum will get you up 60 feet. And if you're going slow, just as much line as you let out, it'll just keep going down.
Yeah. That was my question. Do you have kind of a chart that comes with it, or somewhere they can see as far as how much line they need to let out to get to a certain depth based upon that certain, tadpole or angle that it's at?
If you go on our website, offshoretackle.com, there's a place to click on for dive charts, and it's got a couple charts for them. It doesn't have the full data. We work with precision trolling data, and they do dive charts for now. They're getting in jigs and anything trolling, so that's where all the dive charts are on that. They have an app. You can get the app, and then there's a lifetime thing. But if you're not using a lot of stuff, you can get the app. The initial app is free, and it comes with 1 bait, I think. But you can get individual dive charts on it as well. But we have a few charts on our website too that'll show you, give you a ballpark. So much of this stuff is trial and error. If you can kind of get close where you're at and then adjust with the how far back you have to go. The main thing is that if you catch fish on one, it's easy to be able to repeat it on the next line and catch them. And these are die cast zinc. They're not lead, so they're both good for the environment. And for me, a big advantage with the zinc, especially with like this weight, is you take this is a 2-ounce. We make up to 3-ounce weights. But you take a 2-ounce lead sinker and weigh a dozen of them. I think you'd be real surprised on how much variance in weight, actual weight that you have in them, depending on the quality of the lead and all that kind of stuff. You might have a 1/8 of an ounce of weight difference, and when you're trolling and you're moving, that could make a difference. If it's too high or too shallow, it gets it out of the fish zone. Whereas these are all the same weight. So, this guppy weight, this 2-ounce weight weighs exactly the same as every other one we have. So it definitely lets you get a lot more
consistency. Sure. No, it's great stuff. Well, Nick, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to pull from the ACA membership list for tonight's day 7 of the ACA 12 Days of Christmas prize package. What do you think?
That sounds good.
We'll be back in just a bit.
The fear of failure is failure itself. The world of science rewards the ones who are willing to try and fail, because with the courage to fail and to learn, ideas can change the world.
It's about conservation, education, community, and fellowship. It's about being part of a common cause for the common good. It's about you. It's about us. It's our time to come together.
You have a full-time job and you want to be a full-time angler. Don't waste time scouting. You want to catch fish. That's where Garmin comes in. Our mapping with Navionics data lets you see more detail than the fish do. It's kind of a big deal. Oh, and our industry-leading live sonar is so crisp and clear you'll think you jumped in. You're welcome. Now, if only we had a powerful, efficient, whisper-quiet trolling motor. Actually, we do. It's called Force. We knew you'd like that. Less time finding, more time catching fish. Only with Garmin.
From cane poles to crappie rods to catfish, B&M continues. B&M continues making memories for over 75 years.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 7th day of the ACA 12 Days of Christmas. With us tonight is Nick DeShano from Offshore Attack. Nick, you know, from all of us in the catfish community, certainly the ACA, we really, really do appreciate your support from the very, very beginning. You guys are there and have been there. So hats off, brother. Thank you very, very much. You do so much for us.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank everybody else out there. We've had such great support return for us, and we'll be at the Catfish Conference, and we've been to there a couple of years, and the response has been great. Everybody's a lot of great people along the way. You know, I mean, you can't get a better group and dedicated, serious anglers. You know, it's kind of nice. They are into new places and seeing new anglers. And be honest with you, a few years ago, I didn't even know anything like this was there. You know, for us growing up in Great Lakes, and the catfish is fun to catch, but it was always kind of an extra thing, and we were catching walleye and trout and salmon, and to see this and to see, you know, I mean, who doesn't like the chance of going and catching a 100-pound fish in fresh water somewhere? I mean, it's
a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And I'll admit, I'm a novice to catfishing, but the times that I've had out in the water, I've loved it. Absolutely love it, and always look forward to getting out there again.
Absolutely. You know, the tactics and the equipment and the people and the skill level of the anglers is I'll put it up there with any kind of fishing group out there. You know, it's just such a good group, and it's fun to learn new stuff. And, you know, and I think we can bring a lot to help the catfishing world, especially when it comes to the conservation side. So we can go and inform a whole lot of people that would normally look at a catfish and don't want this fish, and let them realize how important it is to take care of the fish when you catch it. You may not be the fish you're targeting, but more than likely there's somebody that is. So absolutely, you know. So when you catch something, if you don't want it, somebody's going to want it. So take care of it and let other anglers enjoy that fish as well. So.
Let the fish enjoy, you know, growing up to be something special, and
absolutely.
And that's not just for catfish; that's for all fish, all wildlife. Right. So are you going to be? You're going to be at the Catfish Conference in Louisville in February, right? It's the last weekend of February, 2022, right? You know, we got our awards banquet then too. Friday night, we're going to do the awards banquet. We're going to have all sorts of great stuff to give away. We're giving away the new Sea-Ark Protege, custom wrapped, all sorts of goodies inside. And I said it last night, in about 2.5 months or so, somebody's going home with a new boat.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No, especially the Sea Arc. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's got a 200 horsepower Suzuki on it. Sits on a deluxe Marine Master trailer. I mean, this thing's going to get up and go.
Yeah.
So it's
good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a challenge. I designed the wrap for this year's boat. I got to start designing the wrap for next year's boat, and I'm still not sure how I'm going to do that. But
yeah,
it's always something. Always something. So Nick, Day 7 giveaway. I got a list of all of the ACA members up here. And while we were on commercial break, I started going through it, randomizing it. I was up to number 4, and we're doing it so that every night, today's the 7th night, so I'm going to randomize it 7 times. But I figured I'd get a head start because it's a long list. There's 5. There's 6. And there's 7. Wow. Christy Orr.
All right.
Christy, congratulations. You are Day 7's winner. And
congratulations, Christy.
Appreciate the support. Christy is actually the wife of John Orr from Cat River Anchors.
Okay. So,
and she was kind enough on Saturday. She was the camera person for John when he did his day. What was his? His was day 4, day 5, day 4. So good. I'm glad she won. That's
good.
Terrific.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah.
So,
I'll send out.
All right. So what does Christy win?
Well, we'll put a pair of these together, of the big Magnum boards.
Nice.
A couple of the tadpoles, and who knows? Maybe we'll find some other stuff to throw in the package as well.
Well, she's also gonna get a Merry Fishman stocking. She's also gonna get a catch, release, repeat decal, and she's also going to get a rig wrap value pack. This has got over $50 worth of rig wraps in it, so we're gonna send that up to her, along with what you've got. So, Nick, I can't thank you enough.
Good, thank
Great
you.
Stuff. Great stuff, man. I really, really, really like your stuff. I like the flag. The flag is a great indicator.
Yeah, it is. It is. We only offer it for the OR12. The mini board is so small, it doesn't take much. It's pretty easy to tell. The Magnum board, we may be able to do something down the road, but right now we just have it just a normal flag on it. 'Cause typically, we're using that for pulling heavy weights. And the kind of spring and the way that works, it's just with the spring, and this sets our tension. So to get it with a heavy enough spring to keep the flag up and make it accurate when there's a fish on it, it's kind of hard to do. And if you're fishing with that big board, most of the time, anything that's going to grab that bait, you're going to know there's a fish on it.
Maybe do it in reverse so that when something goes on, it releases and springs up.
Yeah, well, their original flags that we worked with, they did pop up. But the problem with that is when it springs up, it trips and you got to bring it in to reset it. So, but
okay, all right. Well, I was just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, thank you very, very much, and I want to thank you and the whole offshore family. Wish you and yours a Merry Christmas. Look forward to seeing you in February. It should be a lot of fun.
We had to take last year off, so it's been a while. It'll be good.
I know.
Getting back,
As a matter of fact, when I came back from the Catfish Conference in 2020, this is when the COVID thing started hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Brother, I was flat on my back for 10 days. I was so sick, and I believe that I actually had it then, but who knows?
Yeah.
I got my shots, and to me, it's out of control. But whatever.
Another.
Yeah, I mean, so we could sit here and talk about politics and policies and everything else for the next 3 days.
Fishing's a lot more fun to talk about.
Oh, it sure is. I'm so sick and tired. I turn on the news and all I want to do is throw something at the TV.
Yeah.
So well, good. Well, all the best, Nick. And again, thank you so much for your support. If you're not an ACA member, get over to www.jointheaca.com. Do it tonight. Your name will be on the list for tomorrow. And we got a whole bunch of great stuff still coming. So we'll see you tomorrow night, same time.